So, improvisation. Improvisation is, in a way, spontaneous composition. It's composing something in the moment. But if you think of it that way right from the outset, it may be a little scary and be a little bit hard to approach. So, I want to tell you the most important things right from the beginning. And this is like rule number one. And I may refer back to it a bunch of times while we're doing this video. So rule number one is, it's not as much about which notes you play and how much you know technically as it is about the feel and cadence and phrasing of what you play. And what that means is, whatever style you're playing, whether you're playing jazz, whether you're playing rock and roll, whether you're playing blues, whether you're playing new acoustic music, whatever you want to do, that at the heart of it, of course the notes you choose can kind of make or break whether it's palatable, but more important than that is that you have a good feel to it. And so we're going to start out with the easiest note choice of all. We're going to start out with the one-note solo. And in the one-note solo, you're only going to play one note, but what I want you to think about is rhythms, and it may help you to remember that the guitar is a percussion instrument, which means kind of like a drum in a way, with different pitches associated with it. You hit it, and I want you to think of it like a drum for a little while. So when we're starting to put together a solo, there's going to be a lot of things we'll talk about that help with this. But the first thing we're going to work on is one-note solos. And a great way to do this would be first to have some, just some thoughts about how you could play one note. So we're going to use the E note at the 5th fret of the B string for our first solo. And I'm going to play some rhythm for you in a while. I'm going to demonstrate for you, and we'll do this. So one thing is, you can either hold a note or you can stop a note. And you can stop it with your pick, or you can stop it with your left hand in this case. But so there's staccato notes that stop real quickly and notes that go on. There's notes that have a little bit of bend to them, so you can shake the note a little bit. If you look at my left hand here, I have 3 fingers on the string, and I bend the string a little bit and let it unbend. There are notes that you can slide into. There are notes that you can hammer onto. There I'm hammering 1-3 finger-wise, and it's frets 3 to 5. But most important, even if you didn't have all those things, and in addition to those, we have the idea of dynamics. Are you playing the note loud, or are you playing it soft? Are you gradually building it up? But more important than that is kind of how we phrase things to be like a musical sentence. And so a great thing to do would be to study a vocalist and listen to how a vocalist works. Get some vocal phrases where you do not worry about the notes they're singing. All you worry about is about their phrasing. So if I was singing for you, I'm getting tired of running round. I believe I'll get married, settle down, 'cause that old nightlife, that old sporting life, it's killing me. So you can go back and listen to that now and see if you could phrase along with the way I sang it. So it's, I'm getting tired. For that, you'd play, I'm getting tired of hanging round. I believe I'll get married and settle down. That old nightlife, that old sporting life, that old sporting life, it's killing me. And then you could also think about which notes I sang loud, which notes I sang a little more quietly. Well, I'm getting tired And if you think that way, I'm going to show you in a minute how that can kind of work, not with that song, but as just a way of thinking and a way of working that way. But if you think that way, you can actually do a pretty nice solo with one note. So we're going to start with one note, then we're going to get wild and do 2 notes, then we're going to go on to 3 notes. And we're going to work at first with a 12-bar blues like that in the key of E. So I'm going to play for you a little bit, a rhythm track, and then I'm going to play a 1-note solo with it, just so you can get the idea. And I want you to, put aside your guitar, your guitar nerd, how many notes is this guy playing, way of looking at things, and instead listen to it as a musical statement. Okay? So, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. So, along with that rhythm track, which was a 12-bar blues with actually a fairly sophisticated chord progression, the first time through I just played that 1 note. And I tried to think in terms of kind of maybe the way a drummer would think. And that meant some triplets and some stuff like that. And then I tried to make sure there were some slides and some shakes and a little bit of this and that. The second time through I added a 2nd note to create different tensions that we could resolve. And you heard the result, so you get this kind of... And then the 3rd time, and that's the flat 3rd, so this is the 1 in the key of E, this is the flat 3rd, and this is the flat 7 that we added as the last note. And then the last time through, I had another verse to kill there, so I went back to the single note thing. Now, I want you to understand, I'm going to actually play through this chord progression for you and let you guys out there in DVD land have a shot at playing along with it with some single note things. And as I do that, I want you to understand this is just 1 note, but it becomes a different part of each chord. So I'm going to show you this chord progression because you might want to use it too. And what I'm playing there is an E chord, and there's another E with a G sharp in the bass, and then an A7, and an A sharp diminished, and then an E chord, and then a B minor into an E7 flat 5, and then an A7, an A sharp diminished, an E chord, and then a C sharp 7 chord, and then an F sharp 7 chord, and then an B7 chord, and then an E, C sharp 7, F sharp 7, B7. And I want you to think, if you do think technically already, because I know some of you are going to be more interested in the advanced stuff, That means that when I play the E chord, the note, my melody note is the 1. When I play the A chord, it's the 5. When I play the A sharp diminished, it's the 5, flat 5. When I play the E, it's the 1 again. When I play the C sharp, it's the sharp 9. When I play the F sharp, it's the dominant 7th. When I play the B7, it becomes the 11th, or the suspended 4th. And then you go around that again. Sharp 9, flat 7, suspended 4th. So within the structure of that chord progression, that one note takes on a lot of different personalities as it relates to the chord. And it's one of the reasons, especially in a blues, that you don't have to worry as much about what the notes are, and you can think a little bit more about how they are structurally. So what I'm going to do is now, I'm going to play this through for you, and we're going to do it as a separate chapter so you could isolate it on your DVD player and maybe repeat it. And I'm going to play 4 times through that blues progression, and I want you to try what I demonstrated for you, to try to have a one-note solo and play with it. And what I mean play, not as in play the guitar, but as in play like you'd play with your dog. Play and have a good time, goof around, because that's what you have to be willing to do if you're going to be able to improvise. Okay? So we'll start it up as another chapter.